welcome to episode 94 of Aantenna Heads, where we bring you the best of TV from today and yesteryear. I am Brian Cassis, and this episode is brought to you by BuzzFeed, right, Chris and Al?
Am I Chris or Al?
That wasn't funny.
I have to take a BuzzFeed quiz and figure it out. No, me and Chris are both just sitting here while Brian does his intro and wasting some time on BuzzFeed, filling out some quizzes. I can't find what I want to do, though, because now they're all like, can we guess your blank from blank? And that's not as fun.
Yeah. No, they're not. Which Ginny Weasley are you? Book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
Let's see which iconic movie teacher I am. Chris, while I do that, tell us, how was your week? How you doing?
My week was okay.
I sound so like New York when I say how you doing. How are you?
I think you
How
think
was
you
your
sound
week?
New York.
Pray tell, Chris.
My week was good.
See, you don't sound
That's
like
it.
a New Yorker. You sound like you're from like Maine.
No, I don't.
My week was good.
Have you heard anyone from Maine?
Brought some oysters
no, he hasn't
in.
heard anybody from Maine.
I hate oysters.
I love oysters.
Texture.
But enough about my seafood obsession.
Yeah, it was fine.
What was your week like?
Work,
Yeah.
blogging, reading.
It's like every week with you. Like,
Yeah.
if you throw in sleeping and wearing a robe, that's like your life.
Yeah.
No offense. I wear
I
robes.
don't wear robes all the
time.
time.
I do. I love robes. Because it's like a blanket, but it's got pockets, and you can take it off when you go to the bathroom.
See, the thing
Unlike
is...
a blanket, which you can't do.
The thing is, when you're a girl and you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm going down to breakfast. I could either A, put on a bra, or B, put on a robe. Your answer is B, put on a robe. Because,
That's not my answer.
you know,
I always-
comfort.
I would let him just fly.
I always want to keep my breasticles in place. That's what men call their boobs.
Or
If you
throw in a
had
sports
boobs-
bra.
I don't.
If you had boobs, then you would understand that there's a certain comfort and ease to taking off your bra. So
Are you doing a commercial
I'm
for
not.
like no bras?
It's just a thing. No, I like wearing a bra.
I swear to God, last week we had your mini rant about feminism. This week you're talking about not wearing bras.
I
Why don't you just
No.
start singing I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar?
You know how when you get home, you take off your shoes and you're like, your
How when
shoes
you
are
get home,
off.
you take off your underpants.
It's the same thing. You take off your bra and it's like, I mean, obviously I don't walk in the door and take off my bra. Some people do. A lot of people
I'm
do,
sure.
actually. But I tend to not. Tend to wait till later and then but why are we getting into this?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Let's see what Brian was up to this
That's
week.
why I'm always wearing a robe.
Brian, how was your week? Bra, no bra? What's going on?
No bra. I go natural.
Oh, wow. We can tell.
know.
Swing, batter.
Age is getting the best of them. It was a fun week.
Yeah?
Yeah, I went into the Freedom Tower.
Did you?
Yeah.
This isn't your first time there, though. Of course.
The first time since it's opened officially.
Did you go on the observation?
No. We didn't get to go. I was there for an event. So they had rented out, I think it was like the 63rd, 62nd floor.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I mean, it's pre-construction. So it's just open beams and stuff. But the view is amazing.
I
63
bet.
stories up, because it's a pretty much clear view all the way through Midtown Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard the view from, obviously, the observation deck is even better. The building itself is gorgeous, inside and out. The lobby's amazing. They have security, but the funny thing was that they make you scan your bag.
Mm-hmm.
They run it through a metal detector when you go into the building. And they only had one bucket to put the bags in. Like you go to...
Like they only had one for the whole place?
They only had one. So literally they made you wait because they had to wait for the bucket to go all the way through the machine to get you another one to go through.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it
'cause
seemed a
it's a
little
pretty busy building.
Well, it was. I would imagine most of the people going there are going to be right now just tenants, and they're still slowly rolling out, or building out to a full occupancy.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an event, so there were probably a good 1,000 people or so that were going, and everyone obviously shows up between 15 minutes to before or after. The majority of people start showing up, so you got a huge influx of people, and everyone's got a bag to check because you come from work.
Right.
So you got your bag.
And with you have like 7 cameras on you.
Yeah, I only had one, but I behaved. I only used my...
Pulling back. All right. Yeah. Very good. While I was doing that quiz, I found out that I am Dewey Finn from School of Rock.
Oh, no.
So take that for what it's worth. I was funny a decade ago, and then all my subsequent movies were terrible.
Yeah, Nacho Libre.
Jesus.
What was the
Nacho,
point
you weren't
of
paying
that
attention?
quiz?
Finding out what teacher I am, what kind of teacher I would be.
Right.
Yes, there you go.
I ended
You
up
would
hanging out.
not.
I ended up hanging
was
out.
cool.
He was a lot cooler. No offense.
He took chances. You don't take chances.
I kill you right now.
Do it.
I'll take a chance.
That's a chance you won't take.
I'll take a chance. I always threaten to kill you on this podcast.
I don't know why.
Which is really stupid to do because there's a record of it. And
I
I'll
have
just,
robes.
And it shows premeditation
I'll
too.
just cut it out. Very good, Chris.
That laugh sounds even creepier.
No
now.
malice here.
None.
Anyway,
Too bad Brian has all the originals.
do you still keep them?
Yeah.
They're all on wherever they are,
Yeah, well, the cops come knocking at the door.
I suppose.
You need to subpoena these original Antenna Heads episodes, please.
Yep.
I'd be happy to give them. Oh, you like them? Here.
Please, take them
some
all.
broadcasts while you're at it.
We'll give you a special
He
in the
might have said
broadcast.
something in one of these.
Yeah, getting out of this conversation really, really quickly.
But can you listen on SoundCloud instead, and get the viewers?
Only the last 2 episodes are on there, though. We want to drive people to our website. Anyway,
YouTube.
enough of that. YouTube also, it's there. This week, we're going to be looking at a lot of new shows. Last week, I hope you enjoyed our retro rerun. It was a lot of fun to do.
I did.
I did also.
And well put together. Sorry, I know we keep digressing, but it
No,
was
it's
well
fine.
put together.
It's a well-edited show. Whoever does that is just wonderful, smart, sexy man.
Super talented.
And sexy. I mean, we should say that.
That
I
remains
don't know.
to be seen.
I think he wears some shorts that are a little too short.
Little cut off.
You can see his...
And totally like skin color, so that
it's like he's
really
wearing
weird.
nothing at all.
I
Nothing
mean,
at
put on a
all.
robe, Al. Really.
I have a bra on. I don't need to. So let's talk about some of the new series we watched this week. Some of them on Netflix. Netflix actually has a lot of new series on in the last couple of weeks. We're going to be looking at a couple of those. And a new series on NBC that I was pretty excited for, but that excitement died quite quickly.
When the moon.
We're going to use that song, don't worry.
I hope so.
Not all of it, though.
No,
Can't pay
all
those
3
royalties.
minutes. Let's start with something from Netflix. Let's start with a brand new series premiered only a couple of days ago, actually. Sense8. I don't want to talk about this one because there's like a billion characters.
It's a little confusing.
Chris, you want to tell us about... Actually, you know what? I'll give it a try.
All right. I'm telling you, I was very excited about this show, and I mixed it up because I couldn't remember the name of it.
Right.
I mixed it up with Between, which we'll discuss later.
You will.
But this is a show from the Wachowski brothers, or siblings, to be clear. And it's also written or created in collaboration with J. Michael Straczynski,
From The Matrix.
who is a huge, who's a great comic book writer.
Mm-hmm.
Follow him from pretty much from Amazing Spider-Man when he's doing that run.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done a ton of stuff, he's just really, really good. He was also the showrunner on Babylon 5. So he has a lot of, he's got a lot of that sci-fi sense down. So between the two, I mean, the collab between them. And then I think, is it Tom Twyker is the director in this too?
You're asking the
I
wrong
will tell
person.
you in 1 second.
So,
As my mind, which I have all this in my mind, it just takes a second for me to fire those atoms and remember.
It's a very traditional approach to storytelling in that it is a group of strangers that are connected somehow, and they all come together, or in
Tom
a weird way.
Twyker.
Yeah,
Yes,
Twyker. Yeah. Is he the one that did? I think he did Run Lola Run.
Well, going off the music, yes,
yes,
he
he
did.
Yeah, see,
As well as
Oh,
Kevin.
it's Tim Tickver.
Tickver.
Yeah. T-Y-K.
T-Y-K. Yeah.
W-E-R?
Yeah.
That's
it's
a
Tickver.
weird name. And he's a weird looking guy.
He's German.
He would be.
He's a fantastic director. So the collaboration, the creative team is enough to warrant watching the show.
It's Tim, right? Or is it Tom?
Tom.
It's Tom.
Oh, okay, Tom.
Yeah, I said Tom, didn't
It
No,
doesn't matter.
I
It
said Tim.
It simply doesn't matter. Tom Tickman over here.
I? So it is this general
William
storytelling
Topman.
of this connection of a group of people in that, and it's in one same universe. It isn't like parallel universes going together. It reminded me a lot of, and you guys didn't see it, I asked you already, Cloud Atlas, the movie that the Wachowski siblings put out.
I never
No.
saw it, no.
It was a colossal undertaking in terms of connecting and intertwined storylines from different universes, and people played different characters. Halle Berry was in it. Tom Hanks was in it. I forget the other guy who was in it. It's a very long movie, and there are points of it that are absolutely fantastic, and there are points of it that are just, in terms of editing, was a little ambitious.
I mean, it's not a new idea.
It's
you know?
not. And the movie did not do well, and I think it's just because it was marketed poorly. And here Netflix has now this dream team in terms of sci-fi that they've put together in terms of talent. It's obviously an expensive show because they're filming on location in a lot of different places around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel that perhaps they didn't kind of promote this the right way. Still, I think, you know, there's a lot more to this show, and you pick up on it towards the end of the first episode than is what is apparent in front.
Right.
And it's almost a disservice the way that the show is not marketed well. Thankfully, they decided, unlike Between, to stick with the traditional all the episodes.
Right.
Where Between, they're going with this week to week.
Between, it's a very interesting structure with Between, which we'll talk about when we get to it. Oh, it is, because it's very unique even for Netflix. Let's talk about Sense8 though first. Basically, as Brian said, follows 8 strangers living in different parts of the world who all get connected when Daryl Hannah kills herself.
Yes.
There you go, folks. That's it. No, Daryl Hannah is a Sense8. That's actually the name of these people, the Sense8s. Although it's like
Sensei.
A-T-E.
Or Sensei.
Okay, don't ruin stuff though.
No, okay, it's fine. So Daryl Hannah dies, and as we find out in the opening, just so Chris doesn't yell at me, she essentially gives birth to a new clan of Sense8s, and they all, from then, are connected. And we see throughout the episode that they experience each other's experiences. One will see something when it's happening to somebody else.
Crazy shit.
At the same time, right when Daryl Hannah dies, actually, we meet this guy by the name of Jonah, who is also a Sense8, and who, not to ruin anything, he will be like their Zordon. He's going to be their like leader and guider.
Is that Saeed from Lost?
Lost, yeah. And we also meet in the opening a Mr. Whisper,
the nemesis,
who's going to be hunting the Sense8s.
Okay.
So that's basically it.
Well, and then the Sensei, the people are, there's a cop from Chicago.
Yes. Actually, I wanted to ask you guys this.
Oh, okay.
There were 8 of them, as you guessed, Sense8s.
Yes.
Can you name, you don't even have to give me their names, just give me like backgrounds on all of them, a general description of all of them.
Okay.
Let me open my notes
Do
here.
you want to go back and forth?
Yeah, fine.
You got the cop from Chicago.
The
Which
Chicago,
one?
young
You have
guy.
it in front of you?
No.
Okay.
Well, I have my notes, but I'll stop looking
Okay.
at them. No, I'll stop looking at them.
It's fine. You had the cop from Chicago.
Cop from
Very
Chicago.
good. Will.
I didn't know his name. See, that's the problem. I did not remember. And this is the ambition of a show like this is it's impossible to remember everybody's names.
But I think it's sad when a lot of, like, the first 40 minutes is all establishing, and they don't really establish any of the names of the characters.
No.
I'm okay with that.
They're trying to do it in a more...
For taking notes, it's really annoying.
It wasn't for me.
Linear storytelling, where you'll pick up the name from conversation with another person. I liked it because it was more respectful to the watcher. It gives you more responsibility than just kind of hitting you over the head with it.
You have enough identifiers.
All right, well, why don't you give me one of the identifiers and give me another character? Another Sense8.
Let's go with the London DJ girl.
She is from London. She is a DJ. Her name is Riley Blue, but she's actually Icelandic.
Yeah, she's definitely not from London.
Yes. Brian, you're actually going in the order that I have it here. So
Good.
There's the bus driver.
Van Driver. Van Damme. I loved Batman.
Campus Van Damme, his name.
I loved him so much.
Yes, he's from Nairobi. He's a bus driver, and he's also got a sick mother, which we find out.
Yes.
She has AIDS. We find out in a later episode.
There is the Spanish soap opera guy.
You've gone out of order now.
Sorry.
Lito Rodriguez. Yes, he's a Spanish soap opera. He's actually from Spain, but he works in Mexico City.
Miguel Silvestre. He's from,
Miguel Angel.
Yes. He's from, Velvet. He's like the lead actor in Velvet. I follow him on Instagram, which is how I knew about the show. And I was actually planning to watch this before we actually watched it.
Convenient.
So, yeah.
Brian. Back to you.
Which is actually the only thing I've heard about the show was him saying, I'm in
Watch my show. Watch my show where we'll talk about it in a minute. But Brian, you're next.
There's the businesswoman from Korea.
Yes.
Seoul.
You back
South Korea. Let's be clear.
Soon Bake, I assume, a Seoul businesswoman
who's doing Tai Chi at the beginning.
Yes, we find out eventually that she's a big up in the underground world of kickboxing in South Korea. Get ready for that.
Awesome. There is the lesbian woman. I don't know where she's
no,
from.
she's transgender.
Well, no, but she is a
also.
lesbian.
I know, but I think they wanted to identify her as.
No.
She's a man who became a woman, so she's
Yeah.
a
Oh,
woman.
is she?
Yeah.
I
But
didn't
they
know
even
that.
say she's trans.
I didn't know she was trans.
Yeah.
I thought it was that they didn't like her political.
Oh, they thought she was acting very mannish?
No,
No,
I thought they just didn't agree with her.
No, she was transgender.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's a transgender lesbian. San Francisco, her name is Nomi Marks. She's also a political blogger, and that's why they have that confrontation. And we eventually will find out she's a hacker. Because somebody in one of these shows has to be a hacker.
It's okay. You like hackers.
Sure.
Oh, really?
The
That
show,
stupid
the show had a
MTV show?
distinct The Messengers feel.
Yes. We'll get to that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, a
I
little
believe
bit.
there's a couple more to go, though, Brian.
Oh yeah, I don't.
See, this is where it gets hard.
I got one.
All right, Chris, you
Go
want to
ahead.
take it?
You don't.
No, I can't find anything.
The German guy who broke into the safe.
Yes.
Oh shit, that's right.
Wolfgang Bagendow.
Was he German or was
A
he?
Berlin locksmith and safecracker.
What number are we up to?
I think you've done
You've gotten six of them?
or seven. I think maybe you might have done seven actually.
Can't
Yes,
remember.
you have one more.
I can't remember the last one.
Hold on, I'm thinking.
I can tell you it's a woman.
I'm trying to think. Wheels are turning.
See, you're only
I'm really thinking.
you're only up to sense 7 though.
I have it in my. No, I don't know.
And I did this because I want to highlight something that bothers me in a lot of shows where you introduce so many characters,
Right, it's
and
hard.
this show does a better job of giving them backgrounds.
Definitely.
But it's still very confusing when at the end of the episode you have to remember all of these characters, and a lot of them just fade into the background. The last one I'll just give it to you because you're
Yeah.
not getting it.
Yeah,
is
please.
Kala Dandekar, the pharmacist from Mumbai.
Oh damn it!
Fuck, I
I remembered her
forgot about her.
before because
And
I
you,
was.
you know what's funny? She had one of the best reveals where she's standing in the hospital and she looks out and sees the woman standing there, and then she
looks behind her, like-
she's getting ready to get married. Fuck, I can't believe I forgot.
Yeah,
that.
she was good too.
Yeah, she was very good.
I thought she was okay.
I thought I liked when she went in and basically went to pray and
Yeah.
like ask for. Yeah,
I thought it was a
that
good
really-
scene for her. I think
Yeah.
it was one of the only scenes
I
up
also-
until that point that was actually.
I also really liked the
Significant at all?
scene when it looked like a diner when she was at the restaurant with her father.
Yeah, it's her father's
and it was
restaurant.
basically like, "Oh, where are the umbrellas? I need to go to work. I need to go to work." And like,
I thought that was a very good scene for the
Yeah.
man who plays her father.
I thought it was a very good scene. Well, I mean, the acting was good, but I thought it was really well done in terms of showing the way that the senses are bleeding through. That she
'cause-
hears the rain and she
Right.
hears the thunder and
Oh,
she.
it's really good.
But I did like her father in that role in
He's
that
really
scene where
good.
he's talking about how the sound
can
that she's
be
hearing
happy.
might be his tears for losing his
Yeah.
daughter, and he's like, "I thought you were happy," and tears can be happy and sad. That was a great line. I thought he plays the role very well, very
Yeah.
believable as the father. I thought her when she was praying, she was okay, but I thought that there was this lack of, I want to say a tortured quality to her because she's quite conflicted here.
She is, but I think at the same time,
Well, she's supposed to be her character.
I don't know if it's because she was raised that way or because she feels that way, but she feels like she should be grateful because everything, these are literally the best outcomes that she could hope for in
Right.
terms of everything. And, everyone is telling her that she should be so happy and she feels like, she has sort of, won the lottery, but at the same time, she doesn't love him. And so
Right,
really
of course.
it doesn't.
She's marrying her boss's son
Yes.
at the pharmaceutical
Who's
company.
apparently gorgeous and everybody wants him.
Yes, from what she says. But she doesn't really love him,
Yeah.
as she says. I thought, like I said, the scene was well written. I just thought that there should have been that extra pull and extra conflict, that tortured quality in her in that scene. There really wasn't. I thought it was still somewhat reserved.
Okay, this weekend, I am to marry a very important man who you probably know, Rajan Russell. He's the son of the owner of the pharmaceutical company where I work. He's very smart, very handsome, and all the women at the company want desperately to marry him, but he never took an interest in anyone. Except me. I should tell you, I have never seen my parents so full of joy as when they received his proposal. I mean, I thought they were excited when I received my degree from university. Maybe you saw my dad like dancing around the house. How could I say no? I mean, Rajan is, according to everyone, including my mom's astrologer, the perfect husband for me. Except for one little fact. I do not love him.
Maybe, as you said, it's just the way she was brought up as a character.
Yeah.
But it kind of bothered me.
Because a lot of it was just like, I'm sorry, and I know I shouldn't be even asking you because I know you have so many more important things to deal with.
I put peanuts on top.
Yeah.
I thought by comparison, the character of Nomi, the trans lesbian,
Yeah.
the scene where she's with her girlfriend, I assume, because I don't think they're married, in the park, and they're talking about the first time it was their first Pride Day.
Yeah.
And how she was crying not because she was sad from what her girlfriend's friend said, but because her girlfriend stood up for her, and nobody had ever stood up for her before.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really powerful scene. I thought that was done very well.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all. This is the one I've been talking about.
Wait, I know you. You're the trainee that blogs about politics. Well, I totally disagree with what you said about dropping LGBT.
Hey, come on, relax. It's a party.
We fought hard for that recognition.
I just thought that the distinctions were separating us.
Bullshit. Just another colonizing male trying to take up any space left to women.
Sam, say one more thing about my girlfriend and I will colonize your face with my fist.
Oh, yeah?
I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Oh, please. She's a loudmouth Berkeley bitch.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. Hey, no, me. Wait. Honey, what is it? You never cry at stuff like that.
I'm not crying because of her. I'm crying because no one's ever defended me before. That's the day I knew I'd always love you.
Those two scenes, I think the first, the one with the Indian girl happened first, and that was probably like half an hour in, and the other one happened like 40 minutes in. Nothing really happens for the first half hour.
Yeah,
It's very, very dull. There's a lot of establishment.
The problem is you do need to establish that these people have, while somewhat seemingly exciting lives in terms of the safecracker, the DJ, because it's obviously not a regular person. It's a DJ. She's going around the country or world doing whatever. The cop, his is not just a routine thing. But in the end, it's still just their day to day. And then when you go from one to the other, to the other, to the other,
there's very little substance.
It just, because it gets lost in having to tell you this whole story and show how interconnected.
And of course, this will lessen over time as once the characters are established, they can tell more of the
then
story.
You can tell a long story.
But I thought the only time the show really kicked into gear was like 45 minutes in when the safecracker starts trying to steal the diamonds or whatever from his a member of his gang or whatever.
No, he wasn't. He was trying to steal them before the other guy could.
Yes.
Brother or his cousin or whatever.
I think it was his cousin.
A clearly evil man because he was bald and he had a tattoo on the
giant
back.
fucking tattoo.
And he had some velvet outfit on.
But
so he's evil and stylish.
I mean, there's a great scene when the DJ is there and the fucking drug deal. They're gonna steal the drugs from this guy.
Right at the end.
That whole starts going down. The cop then transcends and feels everything that's going on there, and he starts to react. There's a couple of cool things though, like when the cop wakes up and he hears the music next door, and he opens the door and it's just nobody there.
Let's talk about that whole that use of that kind of editing to illustrate the changing of the senses and the way that they experience each other's experiences. What did you think about that? Did you like the use
I loved it.
Oh, it was great. And then the introduction of Daryl Hannah's character, it was just, each one was unique. I mean, you have the transgender lesbian who's shooting up, and she sees her in the reflection in the mirror, and obviously she's not there. The trainee, the pharmaceutical, the Indian woman, she sees her, standing down in the hospital. Same thing with the cop.
I like the character of the cop. I thought he was one of the few characters that you could actually like and want to see good things happen to it. You know, he had that likable quality to him where throughout the episode he's trying to save the life of this young black kid who got shot in a gang war.
You get some characters you like, you get some characters you feel bad for, you get some characters you don't like. Mm-hmm. You know, you feel bad for the Korean woman because essentially
she gets the most blatant kind of sexism. It's like,
yeah, I know, but
I came here to close a deal. Women aren't for closing.
Yeah.
They open up. It's like, obviously the phrase "I'm an asshole" is just a little too much on the nose.
There's some of that going around for the most part, like even with the DJ, where it's like, oh, she spins well for a girl, and it's just like,
did you catch the line? Did you catch the line that like her friend says when she comes out of the DJ booth or whatever, and she like meets up with him?
I remembered it at the time as being weird.
He says, and I quote, "That set was cracking. It was like a tight leash around my Goolies."
Oh, Goolies, yeah.
Fuck you, sir.
Yeah.
Nothing should ever be described as a constriction of the testicles.
Oh, I mean,
in a positive way, nonetheless.
That's what gets your rocks off, man.
Yeah, get your Goolies going. Jesus.
Anyway,
anything else?
I actually didn't like the cop. I mean, I didn't not like him. I just thought he was one of the more dull characters. Mm-hmm. You do get more information about him than you get for most of the others. I liked him until you kind of start to like really delve into, you know, his day to day. I liked him, but then once he really started to delve into the day to day, I don't know if it was because I felt like his acting was a little weaker. Mm-hmm. I also didn't like his partner. I feel like his partner was just like, this is the problem. I watch a lot of shows about cops in Chicago.
You do yes.
And then I watch this and I'm just like, you're just like, I don't fucking give a damn.
Where's Batman when
no
you need
ambulance is coming to this place. I was like, that's not true. I know the people who have ambulances in Chicago.
I will soon hear about their tales on a weekly basis. Actually, they moved Chicago Med up. It was supposed to be mid-season, but they moved it to the fall because
hell yes.
Heartbreaker. I forget who the girl is in Heartbreaker.
I don't know.
But she's pregnant, so they moved that to the mid-season, so she has time to have a baby and everything.
That's good. Good
Yep.
for her.
That's nice, actually. That's very understanding.
We were talking about how they show the
experience, the co-experiences. Yeah.
I really liked it. I think, you know, there's a varying degree of the ways in which you see it. I mean, you do get sort of like a noise pollution effect where, you know, they're hearing things that aren't there.
Sometimes chickens pop up.
That's more of like a blatant, you know, hallucination.
Yep.
But it's the realism of the hallucination, you know?
I mean, that's, you know, it's fucking scary.
It didn't bother me. I thought it was just an interesting way to do it. I thought they might have used it a little too much where we're like 45 minutes in, you're like, I get what's going on. Give me some fucking plot.
Well, I think you're pretty much hitting the problem with the show dead on, is that for a change, they actually give you a lot. And there's no, what do you want to say, no mystery to it. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like
there's plenty of mystery.
There is a lot.
You don't understand what any of this means or why any of it happened.
But I give you a lot for a change.
It should be said,
there's nothing.
The Mr. Whisper that I talked about, he doesn't show up at all once the new Sense 8s are created.
I think you needed more of that to kind of drive the story.
Nor does Jonah.
I think that's...
Nor does Jonah once the new Sense 8s
but that's what I mean. I think you needed more of that to kind of...
Right, you need more plot.
Here's the problem. At the end of the show, at the end of this episode, there was no cliffhanger ending. Right? Normally there is.
Yes, there was. Everyone was dead.
It's true.
It's like, what the fuck is she gonna do now? Everyone in the room with her is dead.
Riley's covered in blood.
Yeah,
she's got a bag full of drugs that help her find other people that, you know, seem to know that dead woman that she keeps seeing.
I think you needed to bookend it with the longer story arc than the shorter one.
Yeah, and I do think that.
But that might be a problem because it's a Netflix show, so every episode gets thrown up on there, as opposed to something you got to wait week to week.
No, but it doesn't matter. It's the way you create the story arc.
I know, but honestly, I think it needed that. It needs, especially a pilot. We're good at going over pilots at this point, right?
We've done a couple.
You need to want to drive the whole story for the entire season.
Create interest not only in the characters but in the general story.
Yes, and I think you have great interest in some of the characters. Not every character. I really like the Van Damme kid.
Yes.
You know, they
Cassius.
I love him so much.
They barely touched on him really compared to the rest of the characters. But he's just, there's something about him. You want him to succeed. You already immediately feel bad for him.
He pats a kid on the head when he goes to work. How could you not like the guy?
But even before that, the guy gives him a chicken after the guy busts his balls that he's got Van Damme, and it's like, he goes, no man, Van Damme is cool. You're already cheering for him, but it was done
in spite of that, actually.
It was done. It was
Van
done
Damme is
very
not
well.
cool.
You know, they didn't spend a lot of time on him. They spent a lot of time on the Korean businesswoman. You know,
They didn't spend a lot of time on her.
They spent more time on Riley,
They showed her in
the
her
police
office
officer.
twice.
That's true. You're
And
right.
I would say even the Indian woman.
And the
Indian
lesbian.
woman,
And the lesbian.
Yeah.
I think the one that I like the least is probably Riley.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I
I
liked her
liked
the
her.
most.
I
Not only
liked
because
her.
she's good looking.
First of all, she drops some sick beats. Or she spins some sick beats.
She drops
I don't
them.
know.
You're so hip.
I don't know.
You're so hip and young.
I don't know, DJ.
I can tell you who I like the least.
Go ahead.
Cop.
No.
I like the cop
The cop.
least.
I did not like a Mr. Lito Rodriguez.
Oh, I loved him. He's so
he was
ridiculous.
good. He was
He's like
good.
humping a wall. at
Yeah,
one
I didn't
point.
get that. I was like, does he want his package to look bigger in shots? So he's just like
He's a telenovela actor, as we
He's
said.
It's almost like he's declared
a dog
it,
rubbing his crotch on everything.
It's
Okay.
like he's been decided to be celibate, but if he accidentally, you know, rubs
He has sex
rubs
with a
one out.
nun. Oh, he almost had sex with a nun.
He
No.
stops her early on.
Here's the thing. His whole scene
She
starts.
barely got her hand down his pants.
His
and
whole
he's like,
scene starts.
No, I'm in love with another.
Yeah.
His whole scene starts, and he walks in the church, and you don't know it's a telenovela. And immediately I wrote, "So we're watching a telenovela now."
Yeah.
And then yes, we were.
You know what? And it was done well.
And then he goes to
was done well.
he goes to his dressing room because he can't memorize the lines because becoming a sensate is affecting him to where, you know, he's hearing all these things and he's confused. So he's going crazy. He starts humping things. He drinks a Diet Coke, and
that was great. I need a Diet Coke.
and then his co-star comes in, and from all the rubbing on the corner walls, he's got I assume a fairly
A half C.
erect penis.
He's pretty much got a full chub.
So she just, for whatever reason, in quite porno fashion, is just like, "Oh, is there something I can help you with?" And like goes straight.
Well,
for
he's
the cop.
hot. I'm sorry.
No, but it's like,
Listen, I'm going to say this in the most heterosexual way. I could see that going down.
what does that mean?
Yeah.
Them having sex?
Yeah.
I could easily see them having sex. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it has to be anything to do with porno. I think she
No, but it was like a
it's
porno line.
No, but it's established from the beginning. She really thinks
she
he's
goes
hot.
in there. She's like, "Oh, you know, you're always
she
so
was dressed as a
perfect."
nun.
And
I know. Well, I think this flies.
No, it's like we go from watching a telenovela to watching a porno in like 7 seconds.
no, to watching another telenovela. Really.
First of all, do you not remember
Another
the scene?
scene.
Do you remember the scene of the transgender and the lesbian having
Oh,
sex?
with
that
the
was-
dildo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That kind of set the table.
This show also does a lot of that.
when you drop, like, you show someone dropping like a juice covered strap on,
yeah.
it's, you know,
But I think that show or rather this show is doing what a lot of shows do, particularly on cable and sometimes on Netflix, where they're trying to shock us with graphic.
Nah, I don't know.
Imagery in one way or another.
But it was done in a way that didn't bother me.
it wasn't.
No,
it
it's
wasn't
not that it bothered me,
bad.
but I think it was designed to make me go, "Oh my god, a dildo."
I'm not calling you a prude. I'm just saying I don't think it was done in a way that was kind of like a gotcha, like a bad 3D movie where it just throws it in your face. I think it was just done.
It wasn't too
for
overt.
drama,
Like, it
just
wasn't-
slightly.
and it to a certain extent played into the story, so it wasn't like they just threw it in because they're like, whatever.
Would you like to talk about Mr. Van Damme for a second, Chris? Is there anything you wanted to
Sure.
add on him?
He was awesome. There wasn't really much.
He's very likable also.
Yeah, I think the fact that he really cares for his mother, and he leaves thinking, this is going to be a good day. Something good is finally going to happen to me.
Get the chicken.
I mean, he has that positive attitude, and he is that underdog that you want to root for. So you really can't help but love him.
True.
I think for the most part,
Yeah.
across the board, these are all people you want to root for. Even, even the guy who's breaking into safes, you want to root for him.
I don't
You
know.
want him to
He
outsmart
started,
that,
he started watching a fake American Idol. I'm like, I don't know about this guy.
it wasn't a fake American Idol.
It was clearly a fake American
It was
Idol.
a Euro, yeah, but it was like a Euro German. But even in that, he's rooting for the girl whose eyes are too close together because she has a voice like a musical instrument.
Nobody votes for the camel. Nobody votes for the camel.
Well, he does because he's that kind of a
yeah.
person.
I did want to add this.
Like, are there any of the people
What you think aren't likable?
that you wouldn't root for?
No, and I think that's good. I mean,
Weeto. I'm not a big fan of
Why?
Weeto. I don't.
What did he do?
There's nothing that I would.
that nun was all up in his pants, and he was like, "No,
Yes,
you know,
go Leto.
No matter.
Get some sex. That's what I'm going to
no,"
root for.
because he was like, "I love someone else, so get your hand all
Again,
up out of my jock."
That's fair enough. But I didn't really like the safe cracker. I thought that whole story was kind of dull.
It was okay. I thought.
It was German.
So it is dull.
I think. Listen, it's an ambitious project. I think the problem is the connection. How making this a strong connection in a story that every one of these people's lives that you've seen or invested time in matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's too aggressive. I think there are too many people.
I disagree with him because from what Brian was saying before about how, you know, he wishes that there was more of that story about the Whisperer or whatever.
Mr. Whisper.
I disagree because I think they gave you, okay, it was confusing in the beginning because basically you have, you know, a woman on a mattress seeing people that aren't there. And, you know, obviously things are going on in her head and you have no idea why or how any of this fits into anything.
Bit of a disorienting opening.
It was, I mean, it was definitely a rough opening, but you,
Got
that
rougher with a
taste,
dildo.
that taste of knowing that, you know, there is that whole troop of people hunting them, or that's going to be hunting them. I think that's enough to have that hanging over your head, knowing that's there.
That's going to show up
And
soon,
that it's, I feel like if it had already shown up and they were already being hunted in the first episode,
it's very similar to the
too
Messengers
much.
in that way, where we
Yes,
meet,
I've had that written down.
where we meet the devil.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really do much. He meets the one girl and that was it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He meets the girl in the first episode, and I preferred this. That you know they
didn't
don't
have much of a
they
role.
don't know, they're still learning about the fact that they don't even know what they're sensing.
They're just connected.
So they don't even know that they're connected to other people. They just know that they're having hallucinations. I think if they had already rushed it to they're already being hunted, when they don't even know anything about what they're experiencing, I think it would have been too much.
No, I'm not saying that they would know they were hunted. I'm saying that we would get a...
Well, we know. We know that they're...
Really.
We know that there's a guy who hunts them down.
And was trying to capture Daryl
And he
Hannah.
knew that-
Yeah, but we know
he knew that she
Daryl
was
Hannah, but
pregnant.
The whole point is why the next step is, I guess, is what it would have been better to. What would have been? I'm picking on the show. I
understand.
enjoyed it, but I think it just needed that
And
to make
you-
it that.
I just
that great
disagree
show.
with you, but that's
all right.
fine.
But different strokes,
And
as I often
I
say.
think that in terms of a lot of shows like The Messengers, where there's a crossover with all these different characters and their different lives, I think this was way more successful.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think you have such a better understanding of who these people are with even less information than you got in The Messengers.
And you care more.
You definitely
Oh
care
yes,
more.
you got next to nothing on the Messengers. All you really got was this is this person's cliched character.
Yeah, but I
Next.
still feel like they spent more time on that. I feel like this.
No, but,
I feel
In
like
The
in
Messengers?
The Messengers,
Oh,
they spent
really?
more time, and you didn't get any. You know, it was superficial in terms of what you got. It was just the most exterior understanding of who these people are to the outside world.
Right.
I feel like this, you
develop relationships here.
you get an understanding of who these people are at the heart, not. I mean, obviously, not the soap actor. You know, you
see
go
him for
that
like 5
deep.
minutes.
You understand what's important to him. I guess.
You get to know him in a different place.
yeah, you get to see.
Not-
it.
not
in,
quite
the, in the
heart.
crotchal area.
Yeah, exactly.
At first it kind of bothered me that everyone spoke English.
Oh, I noted it when like 2 Korean people are speaking English to each other.
It kind of bothered me at first, and I was like, you know, I don't understand why they couldn't just film it and then do subtitles, but yeah, you get used to it and then it stops bothering you. And I guess it does make sense in that had they not all spoken English,
I would have loved to see that.
Because in the very
the
first
Icelandic girl yelling at the cop from Chicago.
Exactly. How rough would that have been? And I guess to a certain extent, it's possible that all these people do
No
speak
English?
I don't think it's that they speak English. I think their connection allows them to
Have a universal language.
A universal language. The English is just for our sake and not having to cloud it with subtitles,
Fair
which I
enough.
wouldn't have minded. But at the same time, there's just in a practical way, there's so much going on. To complicate it with now different languages would be insane.
I agree. It's a stickling point, but as Chris said, you get over it pretty quickly.
Yeah, you're nitpicking, and I think, you know.
Speaking of nitpicking, I have a couple of things.
All right.
Okay.
I really know what
At
you're
one
telling
point, the guy who's trying to steal the diamonds or whatever that the safe crackers,
Yeah.
cuts in front of, he says that he's going to have and I quote.
Oh, was it about his dick shriveling up?
Yes, a dick shriveling crime coming up.
I'm like Grandpa Hassan up there. Cold and pickled. I dream big like he did. Nothing petty. Like you two. It's all you'll ever be. Petty thieves. Not me. My next score is gonna be huge. Legendary. When you hear about it, your dicks are gonna shrivel.
Is that how you describe your crimes?
It's going to be so good that your dick is going to shrivel up.
What does that even mean?
I would think like you would get hard from how good it would be. Like that's where I thought it was going.
No, I thought he was saying
like you're going to be so scared of how awesome I am that
yes, that's what it is.
Your
that's
dick's going
to shrivel up. Or is it like post ejaculation like your dick's going to shrivel up? It's so good. It's like you came.
I think it's like you're so scared of my super fucking powers.
That he was going to do it. His job was going to be so good that they might as well just have their dick shrivel up and that's it.
Because they're useless.
Dick shriveling scores. There's one other thing.
The other way.
At one point, Van Damme brings up that we don't need customers, we need a Facebook page. That's true. That's the best way to advertise.
You need a web presence.
Your Nairobi bus.
Bet you Batman has one. They got a frickin' bat signal.
You do. But not a Facebook page.
No. They don't need one.
We gotta get on the... He doesn't really have to advertise.
They're living in the 1940s over there.
Everybody has
because it's Batman.
And speaking of Batman, at one point,
Nairobi,
Riley, we see flashbacks of Riley as a little girl. And she pretty much just discovers the Batcave. Just walks into this massive cavern. And again, no explanation.
Yeah.
That's innuendo there.
Maybe it'll make sense in the future.
I'm sure it will. But like watching this episode, there was so much where I was like, give me something tangible and important, and very little of that.
I think it needed better editing. I think that would have helped it a little bit in terms of storytelling. Mm-hmm. But again, like I said, I'm just picking on it. I really liked this overall.
You are. Shut up. Chris.
I really liked it overall.
I think by the end of the episode, you don't know how or why. Well, you know that they're experiencing each other's senses, but you don't know why. You don't know how it's happening. Mm-hmm. But you know that something is going to come out of it.
You do.
And when they do come together, when the Chicago cop and the
Riley.
DJ Riley come together, it's interesting to see that they're starting to understand.
I want to see them get together. They seem like a cute couple.
Well, I have a feeling she's going to flee London.
Well, now that there's a bunch of dead bodies and blood on her, I imagine so.
She knows, hey, there's a cop in the south side of Chicago, so let me go find him. Seems can totally see that happening. And I'm totally going to watch the next episode today.
Quite well built from what we saw when he wakes up?
See if, he was. So that was nice.
Let's go to ratings after that wonderful
Wait.
You have more?
Yeah, more.
That was like half an hour.
I will have a question.
Okay. Saying, Jesus.
Are you guys going to be watching the next episode?
No.
Yes.
Did not pull me in at all.
I'm watching it today. I would have watched it right away.
I don't know when I'm watching it, but I will watch it.
I think that if you like, it's not in the same vein really, but if you like, Orphan Black, I think you would like this. I feel like it's got a similar sort of vibe.
Yeah, which I'm one episode behind. I didn't watch yesterday's.
Yeah. I think this was billion. This is what The Messengers should have been.
Yes. I thought this was better than The Messengers, but not by a mile. I thought imagery.
Please.
No.
The Messengers was awful.
Imagery was nice in this, very well filmed. I did like the fact that they gave their characters actual backgrounds and made you care somewhat about them, but there's a distinct lack of action or events in this pilot that really bugged me.
You wanted more action? Come on.
I've watched The Messengers. Let's go to ratings on this. Chris, what do you have us at?
3.5.
3.5. Brian?
3.75.
I had this at a 2.5.
Wow.
2.5.
I thought it was a good start. Like I said, I wish there was just more to kind of really want to pull you into seeing the whole series. And again, that's the problem with Netflix. You know you're in for whatever. It's all there, which we're going to talk about their change between coming up, but it's all there. And so you're like, now you're gauging it as, well, I already started. And the other episode automatically starts at the end of this anyway.
It does.
So now it's just one of those, when am I going to watch this? So 3.75.
The answer is now. Let's wrap this up, guys.
That set was on fire, man.
Yeah, the vibe was cracking rounds. It was like a tight leash around the Goolies.
All right, let's move on because Chris is in quite the rush.
Yeah.
Let's head over to Between, another Netflix series premiered not too long ago, a couple of days ago also. And very interesting, also very similar to a couple of shows that we've talked about recently.
Oh, yes.
Chris, you want to tell us about Between?
Sure. I actually watched Between like 2 weeks ago, or when it first went up, because I was bored and I was on Netflix and I was like, why not? This sounds interesting-ish. Basically, Between is about a small town. I think it's called Pretty Lake.
Pretty Lake.
And the residents mysteriously start to die. Of course, for whatever reason, a teenage hacker, who got into MIT,
Adam,
figures out that all of the people that have died are 22 or over. Or
younger
over
than 22.
All the people that
died 22 or
They're
over. Yes,
older
you're
than
right.
20, yeah.
So he's like, hey, I'm not going to be affected and my friend's not going to be affected, but we should get the hell out of town because bad shit's going to go down. And, you know, of course the military comes in and sets up a quarantine, so that none of the residents can leave, until they figure out what's going on, or ever, probably.
And of course, one of our characters has a big problem with that because not only is she pregnant, the main character, she also planned on having the baby and then leaving Pretty Lake. Pretty Lake?
Pretty Lake.
Pretty Lake. Such a
I
terrible name
didn't
for a
know
place.
that she was going to leave. I thought that she was handing the baby off.
She was giving the baby to the family, the father, the family of the
who
father.
was in Pretty Lake. So obviously, if they've got a baby, it was her baby. Do you understand why that makes no sense?
No.
Because all of the residents are dying.
Yeah.
So there's not, a giant flux of new babies being born.
Yeah, but
So,
you didn't know that.
if a baby
it really wasn't
is handed
established.
I think
off-
the idea was probably to pretend that it was the mother's baby
I mean,
or
it
something
made,
else.
it's
Also-
made sense in a world before this
No, I know,
disease,
but keep in mind that it was established probably 9 months before.
Yes.
Or 8 months before.
no, it wasn't.
I was shocked
the
that she was
agreement.
because she signed the agreement
No,
then.
but they probably had established the agreement,
I
and
don't
then they
think-
made her sign
it was just finalizing documents and stuff. But
Anyway.
she is pregnant.
Because
Yes.
he even said in that, we're discussing Shona, he even said in there, he said, I'm surprised you showed up with everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Because things happen.
Yeah.
So yes. Chris, you want to keep going? Or you want to...
So she, her friend from MIT was going to run away with her, because he had figured out when the guards switch shifts or whatever.
Yes.
And of course that failed massively.
Shocking. A 17-year-old isn't good at beating the military.
Also, so it's basically sort of like Sense8 in that you have all these different characters. And
Very Under the Dome also.
yes.
And
It's,
Messengers like, too.
I thought of it as Under the Dome meets the 100
Yes.
because, yeah.
Because you have a lot of young people.
It is very much, it's Under the Dome on steroids because not only do you have them all locked in together, but you also have them all dying off because of a disease. So you're left with a sort of Lord of the Flies situation where it's the kids running everything, and except for that rich guy.
Yep.
Which was really fucking weird. I was like, do you have some kind of weird age gene? And you really just
Charles
21?
Watt Sr. We made a lot of characters in this episode of this show, also the pilot. By the way, the pilot's called School's Out. Presumably because of all the deaths.
Yeah, and there's no one to run the school now.
It's out.
So you're out.
Yes, we made a lot of characters. There's Riley. Is it Riley? It's Wiley, excuse me. I thought it was Riley, and then I looked it up. It's like Wiley something else. Wiley, who's actually a preacher's daughter.
Yes.
And her parents end up dying because of the disease. So she's left with just her and her very pious sister,
Yeah.
who I thought were really fun together. They were supposed to be dramatic and playing off of the differences because Wiley is a cynical, non-religious girl who's pregnant and is very realistic.
She's got her prego thong on.
And then you have her sister who's very evangelical and very pious, as I said. And that dichotomy and that relationship is supposed to, cause drama. But really, I just laughed every time they were on screen together because it
was fucking ridiculous.
And it was funny because they're quippy and I thought it worked quite well.
Eternal God, God of our mothers and our fathers, our God, we come before you today, not in sadness or despair, but in joy and in confirmation. We come affirming.
Stop it.
We need to pray.
No, we don't, Melissa.
Please, Wiley. Pray with me before it's too late.
Too late for what?
For your salvation. Surely you must understand the danger you're in if you don't ask for forgiveness, and eternal damnation is a possibility.
I don't want forgiveness from you or God.
You just love what's her face.
I do like Jennette McCurdy. I do not like the fact that in this show she's got brown hair. I thought she was much prettier as a blonde.
He misses her as a blonde.
I do not like brunette McCurdy.
Is she from iCarly?
Yes.
She is from iCarly. And also Sam and Cat with the Ariana Grande. You remember they had the split because Ariana was a bit of a bitch. I'm just gonna put it out there. More or less, that's what Jennette McCurdy said. It's like, Ariana Grande was hard to work with.
Diva.
Anyway, there's those characters, the sister. Then there's the one who signs up for the military so he can leave his family, but then his family dies. Gord, excuse me. Gord, not Grodd. I almost said Grodd.
That's an awful name.
Gord, as I said, he signs up for the military, leave his family. Family dies. He ends up raising his sister, his little sister, who I thought was really fun on the show also. Also very quippy. It's not a great drama.
She was hilarious.
But if you like little quippy jokes, it's not that bad. There's a lot of other characters. We meet, the old man, the owner of the dealership, Charles Watt, I believe, and his son who nearly kills 2 kids and then those kids steal a car. A lot happens in this show.
Yeah, but not anything that's interesting or anything that I care about or anything that makes a show.
Well said.
I just really didn't like it.
Okay.
I literally watched this just to pass the time, and I was just like, I would never ever watch another episode of this.
It was terrible.
Here's the thing. I thought that Jennette McCurdy, she's not very good in the dramatic roles. I think that the character of Wiley is written pretty well, but that her delivery isn't spot on. It's lacking.
I thought the acting was poor. But I mean, really, it's all a young cast, and I feel like it's all people that don't relatively have that much TV experience. So, I mean, they're all relatively new actors. So I don't think, maybe it's inexperience, but I think it was just poor writing as well.
I actually thought the writing, well, at times the writing wasn't that great. I thought the writing was, for the most part, fine. I just thought some of the acting, specifically Jennette McCurdy, in those scenes when has to be very somber or very dramatic, as I said, she's not really firing on all cylinders. I look at the scene where she's in the lawyer's office.
Yeah.
And you think that would be an emotional scene, but she's very unfeeling. She's very cold. And I don't mean like the characters. I mean her as a performer is.
Yeah.
And it really took away from that scene, which I thought was actually a pretty well written scene.
I think that's the way they play her character off.
And I think it works at times. I think with her sister it works well. I think them two together is pretty fun. But you need more than that.
Listen, I'm not here to judge, but are you sure you want to do this? There's no going back. Don't you want to read the contracts first?
No. I'm sure you've covered your ass.
You understand the ramifications if you tell anyone who the father is.
Yeah, you've made that pretty clear.
You're not going to count it?
I know where to find you.
My client will make the final payment after the family receives possession of the baby.
Yeah, you mentioned that already.
Your dad was a good man. I'm sorry he's gone. To be honest, I'm surprised you showed up today with everything going on.
Thought you weren't here to judge.
She's like that all the time, though. She's like that with her friend. She
lacks range as an actress, I think.
I also thought that it was really weird the way everyone in the town reacted to the disease, or the condition.
I actually thought that was the only thing they executed well in the show.
I
really liked.
Feel like there was not nearly enough panic. I think everyone, for the most part, was upset that people were dying and thought of it more as like personal tragedies rather than, everyone in this fucking town is dying.
Yeah, but I think
let's get the fuck out of here.
I think the opposite of that is that they are young kids. That their world is completely ruined now.
No, but you mean even when some adults are still alive.
I think
the mom was just like, "Oh no, we're good, we're fine."
The focus is on the kids going through whatever and trying to keep them, I don't know, grounded and sane and whatever.
It's unrealistic in a real situation where there's a small town.
I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe
here's the thing.
It is a small town. But I like the way it progressed.
As to emphasize your point, Chris, if you look at the scene where Jennette McCurdy discovers that her father's dead, essentially. Because her sister goes into the room, sees her father, and she runs over. She has no reaction.
The same thing.
She's cold because she has the devil inside her.
When the MIT kid finds his uncle, his face is legit. Well, I mean, like stone.
But by that point, maybe he had accepted that it was going to happen.
Yes, I understood that.
I think again.
The priest was the first death.
Yeah,
that was the first death, and it's just like you just see there's just like clips of like kids sitting on stairs, like texting back and forth, and like, oh yeah, that's so crazy. What's going on here? And their faces have no emotion.
I think that's true to kids now.
No. Well, it's also true because it's filmed in Canada, so those kids. They're pretty
Canadians have emotions.
Cold in every meaning of the word.
Oh, sorry, my mom died.
Oh, gee. I also thought that a point that comes from Chris's very accurate point in that people don't react enough is there's a lot of death, and after like 15 minutes, you just become numb to the fact that death is a thing. Like,
yeah. Oh, you see people dying.
You don't care.
There's just dead bodies everywhere.
And eventually, some characters that are mildly important, like Adam's uncle, dies, and I'm supposed to care, but I don't because the last 20 minutes I've seen nothing but dead bodies.
You knew he was going to die, though.
I know, but the issue is that should be a meaningful scene because he discovers his dead uncle.
I love the uncle.
And it was just
he was my favorite person on the whole damn show.
Really?
Yeah, and exactly.
You didn't like
I like Gord.
Gord, did you?
Yeah.
Gord's good. But,
Gord's good.
Yeah.
Gord is good.
He's good, I think. But as far as characters go, they all kind of suck.
But that's a problem with the show.
You didn't like Charles Watts Sr. threatening to tar a guy?
I wanted to fucking
tar. He had it was the
highway sealer.
It was sealant. Yeah,
it hurt.
I know. At least it wasn't hot though. That's the only good thing.
Still, I get that you're angry somebody stole your car from your dealership, but there's taking your car back and torture.
This is the thing. I feel like Under the Dome, at least was more accurate, or I feel like it seemed more realistic in terms of how people would react to being trapped in by the government.
But I think you're missing the fact that these are adolescents who, as long as there's Wi-Fi or internet to their phones, may or may not care, or even understand
I think you're not giving young people enough credit. I think just because they're younger in age does not mean that they're like devoid of feeling.
This is like when we started on YouTube and Brian was like, "Fuck YouTube, fuck the people on YouTube, stop putting down the people who listen to our show."
I'm not
31. Get over yourself.
I'm not saying I agree with that point of view. I'm saying that this show is trying to capture some weird zombie-like thing that they're not going to react to.
And to be fair, Chris, the adolescents might not care as much because they're too busy playing that hoop game in the street. That takes a lot of your time.
I mean, look at the 100. Those kids got free. They went fucking crazy.
They did.
Yeah, this
like
one
Room
they didn't.
Springer
They're kind of these kids kind of they're in this weird fucking limbo of they don't know what the fuck to do.
I thought that the scene with Adam and Wiley, Jennette McCurdy's character, on the steps when they're talking about leaving was probably the best scene dramatically Jennette McCurdy was in, and it was a good dramatic scene overall.
Yeah, but then she just ruins it by texting back like,
"Oh my God, Her
Don't
text
talk
was
to me.
amazing.
Don't
because
talk to me.
Not only do I hate that text graphic where it's used in a lot of teen shows, especially now, where
You love that shit.
No,
I liked it.
Teen shows, I love teen shows.
I liked it at first, but then it got fucking annoying.
No, I've always hated it where the text will pop up on the screen.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But her text that she sends when she goes
Those
into
were text
labor.
sounds.
Thank you. Very good. Stop.
Those are accurate, right?
Her text that she sends Adam when she goes into labor and can't go with him.
Tell him you're in labor. I don't understand.
No, but it's hilarious because she wants him to go.
Yeah.
But it's like let me read it because I wrote it down verbatim because I laughed at it pretty hard.
Don't contact me.
Jennette McCurdy writes, "Change my mind. Not going. Don't contact me. Good luck!" ! It's like, that is pretty accurate because that is probably what a girl would write.
Godspeed.
No, it's like, good luck! ! Get it done.
There were no emojis.
There should have been an emoji.
Right?
Like,
She doesn't seem like an emoji type, though.
Not going. Sad face.
She doesn't look like an emoji type. She has no emotion.
Oh, let's play this game. Who do you think the father is?
The car dealership.
Son.
Oh, I want to say the father.
Father?
Yeah.
I think it's the son.
No, it's not the son. It's an older person, definitely.
It's either the son or there was somebody else that I thought
Maybe
of.
it's the daughter.
Do you understand how babies are made?
Yeah, do you? You have
Okay.
one. Yes.
It's the father.
And there's one last thing.
That's the only reason he's alive still.
Maybe?
That baby holds the power.
Maybe because he needs to be like
Power. That was power from Empire.
Thank you for that. We're not
Na,
playing
na,
that.
na, na, na,
We'll get
na,
sued. You can hum it all you want. There was one other stupid thing
He
where
doesn't know what song I'm talking
a
about.
portion of this episode involves a prisoner who we're not even going to talk about because it's like the 30th character that you
Dude,
meet.
it was so confusing. I'm like, how young are you, prisoner?
I believe the prisoner's name is Mark. But at one point, he and this...
what was he in? He's in...
Prison.
No.
No, he looks really familiar.
He looks very familiar.
At one point, he and this other prisoner, they get into a fight. And one of the guards is just like, no, let them fight. They're going to fight eventually, and we're here in case anything happens. And immediately... Mark stabs this other guy. And it's like, you are the worst prison guard
Flashpoint?
ever.
What's up? Stay out of my way. Excuse me?
Let this play out. It's gonna happen eventually. At least we're on hand to keep it controlled.
You heard me? Stay out of my way. Amigo. Amigo. I ain't your amigo.
Who's next? You! One more move and I'll shoot.
You should be fired, sir.
Yeah, but then he beats the shit out of him, so it's all good.
He does. He whomps him pretty good.
He was on an episode of Beauty and the Beast.
He looks really familiar. He's got
He
that
does.
face. But that is also to show you kind of the unwanted element. Now there's less people to keep them in jail because obviously that guy got a gun and the fucking keys.
Do you think either one of, like, either the guard or the prisoner look like they're 21 or under? Because I don't. I'm not buying that shit.
No, but the thing is,
the prisoner
just
more
because they're
than the
not
guard.
dead now doesn't mean they won't die.
That is true. But I feel like they're gearing it towards him not dying.
And I kind of hope that they do, because I really wasn't interested in that character. I was interested in the fact that the female guard gets him back into the cell eventually, and I would have liked it if she was the, God, what is the name of the creepy kid from Under the Dome? I haven't watched that show in so long. Junior?
Junior.
I would have liked if she was the junior and just, like, kept him prisoner for, like, ever.
She might.
That would have been that'd be a fun twist. I would like that. But clearly you guys didn't really enjoy the show as much as I did.
I fucking hated this show.
Let's go to ratings on this because
Well,
there's not much
like
more
we
to say.
discussed, this is going out week by week.
This is very interesting, actually. This is a Canadian show.
Yes.
So it's airing on a Canadian network owned by Rogers. I believe it's called City, the network is. And then
City TV.
It airs on one day of the week, and I think 2 days later it appears on Netflix.
Netflix is every Tuesday.
Is this actually airing somewhere?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it airs in
every
Canada.
Sunday.
Oh,
And the
I'm
interesting
so
thing
sorry,
is,
Canada.
it appears episode by episode on a weekly basis on Netflix also. it's this interesting combination of like the Netflix model and the Amazon model where they put up
this
shows.
Is the Amazon model. This is extant. This is under the dome. You know, this is what they did with the CBS shows. Netflix is partnering with them to kind of bring it to a different audience and wouldn't have normally seen it. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Amazon, that's a direct deal with, you know, an American TV company. This is a Canadian show. It's well done for what it is.
Right.
But
Actually, it's actually even less time in between. This airs Thursdays at 8, I believe, on City in Canada, and then at 11:30 p.m. Eastern in the U.S. on Netflix, or internationally on Netflix.
Nice.
It arrives.
Yeah, I don't care. I think it's 6 episodes.
I don't care. Fuck you, Al. Fuck you and your facts.
I think it's 6 episode order, the first part.
Yes, they've already done 6 episodes. They might go to more because
because of Al.
Because of Al.
I don't see how.
They took away my eye candy. They can't take away this.
No, they would take this away.
They probably will.
I hope so. Not,
let's go to ratings on this. Brian, what'd you have to say?
1.5.
1.5, Chris?
Apparently, I was very kind. I gave it a 2.
Fucking hated this.
I had this at a 2.25. I didn't like this. I should say this. I didn't think it was...
You're going to watch every episode of this.
I will probably watch one more. I almost watched another episode last night.
There's not one thing about the show I liked. There's not one character I enjoyed. The only one was Gord.
Just don't call him Gord.
Gord.
He's not Gord. That is really not cool.
As an episode, analyzing the episode, I should say, I think Sense8 was a better episode. Not dramatically better, though. But... in terms of which show I would watch more of, this by far. I had no interest in Sense8 afterwards.
Oh, no way.
So you gotta remember to cover the bases for put a power. Put a power. Put a power. Put a power. The empire. The empire. The empire.
All right, we're here now to talk about another show on NBC this time, actually, also being distributed through a very interesting model.
I just have the Age of Aquarius like playing in my head.
Well, we'll go out on it. Make you happy. Very interesting model, as I said. It's Aquarius, if Chris might have given it away, on NBC. It's the new David Duchovny show. It's very interesting, not only because of its plot, but by the way it's being distributed. Basically, NBC aired the first 2 episodes on May 28th. And after that, the entire series was put up on their digital distribution. So through NBC, Hulu, everything like that. But they will continue to air it week to week. So you do have this nice 2-pronged attack where if you want to watch it all, you can watch it all on Hulu or wherever. But NBC still gets the ad revenue from airing it on TV. It's a smart strategy that NBC should look to do more because I think it covers all your bases, where the people who are accustomed to watching TV traditionally can still see their shows as usual, but those people who want to see it quicker, maybe they have to pay either through Hulu and they get the subscription fee through that or through their own service in the future perhaps. But they get what they want quickly, but they still do get the revenue from ads and also subscription fees. It's a smart strategy, I think. As far as the show goes, set in 1967 LA, you have David Duchovny playing a police sergeant, and basically he's investigating a missing persons case involving his ex-girlfriend's daughter, Emma. Now, she went to a party with her boyfriend where she met and was mesmerized by one Charles Manson. Eventually, David Duchovny discovers that Manson has quite the connection to this family. In fact, when he went to jail the last time, he was represented by Emma's father. And that relationship between Manson and Emma's father really comes to a bit of a boiling point by the end of this episode. But
you did not watch the second part.
I did not watch the second one.
And you do not want me to ruin the second part,
Duh.
correct? Okay.
No, by all means. But Duchovny eventually teams up with a very streetwise, hippie-looking detective by the name of Brayan Schaaf. Yeah, what?
I'm
hippie looking?
No, go ahead.
Brayan Schaaf?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good name. Good name. And he uses his street smarts to discover that, one, Emma was at this party and that she met Charlie, and eventually tries to basically meet Charlie himself by taking a female police officer and pretending that she's another girl that, hey, maybe you can hypnotize her with your charms. He eventually has to save her from getting raped, which he does, so good on you, Brayan. Good job. Not you. Brayan Schaaf over here. And by the end of the episode, we discover, as I said, that Emma's father had a relationship with Charles Manson, and Charles accosts him in a parking garage and threatens to kill him, by which I mean he holds a razor blade to his neck while trying to rape him, and is only scared off by a passing car. Yes. Very interesting episode for a lot of reasons.
The mood, Al.
The mood was gone. I would agree. Yeah, it wasn't Aquarius rising. It was Aquarius descending.
Shriveling.
There's the show title. Aquarius flopping. Shriveling. His plan was all shriveled up.
Yeah.
Well, interesting for a lot of reasons. I often...
I just keep thinking, my power is so great, I will shrivel it.
My plan's so great, it's dick shriveling.
It's dick shriveling power.
Anyway, I like shows like this in part because they're set in their specific time period, and I often enjoy those.
Your Life on Mars love.
I love Life on Mars. A big fan of Mad Men also.
You were born in the wrong decade, pal.
I was. Pan Am. I loved Pan Am for that one season it was on. I like these kinds of shows, but there's a lot happening here that I don't really like. Chris, what do you think about David Duchovny and Aquarius?
I had a really hard time with it at first. I expected so much more of it, and it was just overall boring. Like, I started watching it last night and literally had to stop halfway through the episode because I was like, I can't deal with this. I would say hashtag I can't even, because I really was just like, I can't even. I need to go to sleep
Thanks
right
for
now.
Putting in the audio hashtag.
No problem.
Twitter just sucks right up.
By the end of the episode, it did pull me in a bit. Once you get Brayan and Charmaine, was it Charmaine?
Charmaine is the female police detective.
Trying to infiltrate the house, and knowing that they're going to try and get to Charlie was interesting. And then also that whole, the rape thing was fucked up. But by that point, you kind of have more momentum. You kind of have more of a build. It's going somewhere.
A build happening.
Or shriveling. There was just nothing in the first half, even with Emma being there at the house or what compound or wherever the fuck they are. I don't know. It wasn't as interesting as you would think it would be.
And I think in part you would expect the show to be really fascinating because you're going into this serial killer, you know, who's legendary. There's no other way to describe him. So you would expect a lot more from the Manson character, but I thought that the scenes he was in, the actor, whose name is Jennette McCurdy, really lacked any magnetism or because you expect Charles Manson to have this innate charm or magnetism, but I felt he really just drifted into this double talk that a lot of people do when they're trying to seem like, semi-demented but also godlike. And I've seen a lot of that, not only if you've seen the movie Cape Fear, the 91 one with Robert De Niro, he does a lot of that. If you watch professional wrestling, Bray Wyatt, that's basically all he does. I've seen a lot of it, and after a while, that really starts to grate on you. Really quickly, you get really bored, and you just start to tune it out.
Look at it. It's an electric snake. It wants me. You. Us. The whole world. It's gonna eat everything up, Emma.
How do you know my name? He was born to know your name.
I know a lot of things about you. I know how much it hurts. Like your whole body, your soul, screaming to be heard. Nobody's there to listen. That's how we were. No more. See, when that snake comes to eat everything up, you know what'll save you? You think Daddy will save you? Well, that boyfriend of yours? No. You survive with me. With us. See, the snake eats the world. We eat the snake. I'll show you how. Then nothing will ever hurt again. Little thing.
I agree. I don't think he had any sort of charm or anything that was really pulling these girls into him. They basically, the only reason he got Emma was because he gave her this whole spiel about, you know, how she didn't have to cry herself to sleep, and that, you know, her parents didn't understand her, but he understood her. And then basically he got one of his skanks to
not skanks,
go down on her boyfriend. So
harem. Yes, so she saw, so she ran.
Did you
run
say
in
his
Charlie.
harem?
He's got a harem.
yeah, it's his harem.
It's not a skank.
It's his skank farm.
Well, I don't know. It's like...
that was the less successful offshoot of Fat Farm. Yeah, not Baby Fat, Skank Farm. Thank God they rebranded. Yes.
Renly plays Charles Manson. That's Renly from Game of Thrones.
Geth and Anthony.
Is it really?
Yep.
He had a beard, but he looks different. Like, he had a beard in Game of Thrones, and like he looks different. Anyway,
speaking of people who look different, David Duchovny.
Yeah, you keep going.
I do want to bring this up because I noticed it.
Al decided this week to watch
the first season of X-Files, which is really pretty good. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen any X-Files in years and years, and I don't think I've ever watched the first season. But it's fun. David Duchovny, I thought he looked fine in the show. But in that poster that everyone's seeing about Aquarius, where it's like him looking over his sunglasses and Charles Manson's in the sunglasses, he looks like a bloated corpse.
It's the angle.
He looks like he ate Gillian Anderson. Okay?
Aww.
He looks
that
like...
That kind of sounds wrong.
No, not like sexually. Like he like consumed her. He's so bloated and he looks old and his face is wrinkled and he looks tired. It's like they caught him on the worst possible day to take a photo. I felt bad for him. Now, as far as the character goes, Sam Hodiak. What a weird last name.
Yeah, it's a weird last name.
Maybe he's the Hodiak killer. Maybe that's the reveal at the end. I'm proud of that.
Well, Aquarius is a zodiac.
See?
Sign.
Hey.
Putting it all together. You guys don't see what I see. I'm the Charles.
You didn't even see that.
Sure I did.
I just said it.
That's true.
Liar.
Anyway, I thought the character lacked a lot. There wasn't really any likable trait to him. I mean... He's supposed to be playing this almost Jack Webb character from Dragnet where he's the straight-laced detective in all of this 60s insanity, but he's really mean. He abuses his role as a police officer, first by assaulting people that he's interviewing, and then being really mean to some hippies.
See, this is the thing. Like I said, again, I watch Chicago PD, so...
That's not how you're mean to hippies.
Cops assaulting people that they're interviewing is not really a new concept.
It bugs me. It's always bugged me because I hate the idea that, real police officers go above and beyond and they break all the rules screw corporate.
The Miranda rights didn't even exist.
This is, keep in mind, this is trying to be historically accurate. So the Miranda rights didn't exist.
I know, but you're also telling a story here, Brian.
Yeah, you're telling a story. And you're trying to capture the mood or the element of what was going on.
That's fine, but you have to remember that your character has to be likable because he's the protagonist.
Of course he does, but I think they're trying to show that he is a product of his time. And you have his counterpart, his yin yang to this young kid who doesn't want to wear the uniform, doesn't want to shave, cut his hair.
Bit cliched
right?
also.
But he's still a cop.
But he's still a cop.
They both have
act. And in fact, he goes to the opposite and says, "No, man, you got to read this guy his Miranda rights. No, we can't do that. We can't just beat up and wail on
He's
people."
the Michael Stivic of the 1960s police department.
So now you have this counterbalance.
Get your reference point.
I got the reference.
As opposed to old Archie Bunker, David Duchovny.
So you get the guy who seems resistant to change, right? You get the catalyst for change, which is the young partner who hasn't been broken by the system, right? And hasn't been chewed out. And you find out, just in the beginning of the second episode or the second part of this, that David Duchovny's character isn't necessarily the one against the change. He's kind of in the middle. He's a transitional guy. You know, he's kind of realizing that there are things that are changing. He may not agree or approve, but he's open to them at least.
What did you think of the show, Brian?
It was okay.
All right.
It needed the second episode. desperately needed the second episode because it went from a show that I never wanted to bother with to saying, okay, this is potentially something I could watch the whole season of. Is it as good as to compare it to what we saw of Sense8? No. Is it better than Between? Yes. Just this first episode is definitely better than Between, in my book anyway. You definitely lose a lot by not watching the second episode.
I
but
agree.
Then again, it bothers me when you edit a show that doesn't leave you wanting the next episode. I know you need a couple episodes sometime to really pick up a show and get to know the characters. You know, and I think maybe they knew that when they aired both as a long, a 2-hour block, and they realized they needed it. But the second episode is so much better than the first. It really gives you what this show is going to go. It underlines the Manson story is a subplot to this as opposed to the main plot. And you pick up on that there's more going on in this show. It's actually a show of transition and actually going to kind of capture LA in the 60s as it went from, you're going to see more hippies. You're going to see the anti-Vietnam movement. You're going to see the
race riots.
And they allude to that in the beginning intelligently, with that racist, first you got the Spick riots and then the Jib riots and all this other stuff. And it's like, holy shit. But then it does take you to that time. But what you were thinking was going to be the subplots and Manson was going to be the big one.
It's really reversed. And you'll see more in the second episode.
It's about the age of Aquarius, Al.
Precisely.
Right.
It's not called Manson, it's called Aquarius.
Probably would have been better off called
Precisely.
Manson.
And that's why I actually ended up respecting the show a little bit more. And it's very edgy for a network show.
Is it edgy?
For an NBC show?
What's so edgy about it?
Okay, this is the
the
thing.
sex scene?
I think they try.
You mean the attempted rape scene, or
No,
the scene where
the orgy.
Manson's go?
Yeah. Well, that
I don't know if it was edgy.
For NBC, it's pretty fucking edgy.
I literally wrote, "Look, creepy orgy scene. Look how edgy we are," because that's what NBC is thinking with this.
Right,
like,
but
no, it's not edgy.
Thank you.
But but that's for NBC. It's edgy.
Well, that's what I said. I said for NBC, it's edgy. I'm not
an
saying it is
orgy
edgy.
On NBC, and you don't see orgies on NBC. And on top of that, it's kind of a rape orgy because at the same time she's not into it.
It's true.
But that goes into a point
Is
that I wanted to make.
more edgy or less edgy than Empire using the word Negro?
I would say, well, I'm white, so obviously I can't.
In case you couldn't tell.
Comment on that, but I would say more, but I don't.
Really, the sex scene is.
I would say so because
I wasn't really impressed by it. I thought it was just the usual sex scene editing where you see some leg skin and then you just up and to the left and it's gone.
I think it was edgy, not necessarily in what you see, but edgy in the fact that
the concept.
It's an orgy. It's not completely, what's the word? It's not completely consented to. I mean, she wasn't planning on it being an orgy, and then it was kind of just thrust upon her.
That's how,
literally.
In my experience, that's how those things tend to come about.
Literally. I think there's
a lot of sex in this episode of Antenna Heads.
There's a point I wanted to get to about sex on this show, and I think in the first episode, the show seems to use sex and force of sex as a way in which to show Charlie's, I don't know, his mode of operation.
Eccentricity.
His power or his craziness, his
cult of personality.
I had a word in my notes. I'm thinking now.
Because I said about the Charlie Manson, the actor playing him.
Oh,
he's supposed to have this cult of personality. He really doesn't.
That's kind of the way that they make him out to be deranged in this first episode is his use of sex.
Mm-hmm.
You've got him trying to rape Emma's father.
Yep.
For what reason? What would he be getting out of that except a power play? Which
he did want Emma's father to help him with his music career.
And how the fuck is raping him gonna get that? It's a power play.
Give me help or I'll rape you.
No, it's not give me help or I'll rape you. It's I'm gonna rape you. Now you're gonna help me.
Just watch the second episode.
Yes. It's a power play.
It is.
And I think, even in the very beginning when he's at the party, you know, all the girls go for Charlie, whatever it was that the guy says.
Right.
He does use sex as power because he gets his harem to go after Emma's boyfriend, and you know that's what he has going for him in this. I mean, in any other way, how do you see that he's crazy in this episode? I mean, you see
he doesn't give a message to that receptionist. Like, can I take a message?
Her cool voice.
What do I get if you take my message?
His cool voice. He has this sort of, or he said that she had a cool voice, like cool, not cool like cool, but cool like cold, I guess.
Yeah.
Very, you know,
icy demeanor.
Cool as a cucumber.
Mr. Manson, I am so sorry. I couldn't reach him. May I take a message?
May you take my message? In return for what? Or do you just take and take and take?
I'm not sure. I'll let him know that you called. What's the best number to reach you?
Sister Lady Cool Voice, I will reach him.
I do think that it is the way that it's paced. It's incredibly boring, the first episode. I think it's the sort of show that really needed that 2-part premiere, because I watched the first 10-15 minutes of the second part and immediately I was like, okay, this is much better. Because you have some sort of direction in which the show's going. You have some... I personally don't really know much about Charles Manson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know the history, so to me, it's kind of a new experience and trying to figure out how they're going to get there. David Duchovny's character, pretty much, I took him as, you know, he's there, but I didn't really focus on him. I was trying to figure out...
No charm, and it's sad because when you watch the X-Files, he's the shyest, most reserved, but likable and virtuous. He's very virtuous, as we're here... You get none of that.
No, but you don't really get anything.
Californication, right?
I
told him about that.
He's a different
Yeah.
character.
Right, but I would say this is a more similar role to the X-Files.
I feel like the problem is
because the cop.
You've got him as the main character, and he's not driving anything. He's being taken on the journey, but he's not driving anything. Mm. So you sort of just have him in the midst of everything. And
I think that's by design. It's just this guy who is trying to figure out what's right in this world. You know,
Chris, you mentioned nothing happens in this first episode.
Oh, really?
And I think you're right, but I also want to point out how poorly paced the show is, because things that should take longer don't, and things that shouldn't take as long do. Like the scene where Sam and Brayan become partners, and David Duchovny's like, hey, that young hippie guy, I want to work with him. That whole scene, 5 seconds. From when he sees the young hippie guy to when they're partners, 5 seconds. The scene...
No, he talks to him.
Yes.
He talks to him in the room.
But I mean the scene when he's talking to his captain or whatever.
Well, yeah, he sees him fighting the other cop.
He does.
He takes him to the floor, and he's like, yeah, I want to work with that guy. And I don't understand why.
I thought there should have at least been more discussion between them two, because very little else happens in this
But it's not a discussion, because he's the lower beam on the totem pole, so the hippie. So if he wants to work with him, he gets to work with him because he gets assigned to him.
But I think even if you add a discussion where the captain is like to David Duchovny, I don't know, you shouldn't work with him. He's not. He's worthless. Let's put him on a desk and leave him there because he's valueless. And David Duchovny stands up for him. Give me something there, because very little happens.
I actually didn't mind that.
I thought it was dumb.
I think it'd be more cliched if he'd fight for him and goes, no.
I had more issues with pacing in other places.
Yeah, no, it didn't bother me much.
I also thought the fact that David Duchovny's
that don't impress me much.
Character, well done. Maybe some Shania Twain. His character is able to find Emma's boyfriend Rick literally 5 seconds after he hears that Rick exists, also bothered me. Because that search should have at least taken like a third of this episode.
I feel like that search wouldn't have added anything to the show.
No.
It would have been something going on.
It would have been another pacing issue to deal with. Why the fuck are we spending, a good 5 minutes searching for this fucking kid when he has nothing? Yeah, but all they need from him is Where's Emma? What? What did he say, really? He said he went to a party, she got in a snit and left.
Yeah, but he finds out where his party happened. He finds out who was there. A lot of important things come from that. And the more important thing is, Chris, that could have eaten up 5 minutes with David Duchovny's character searching for something and then achieving something. As we're here in this episode, what does he really achieve?
I don't really want him
Nothing gets done.
I like the beginning where he's looking for his keys and just says, fuck it, I'm just going to hotwire my car.
I didn't like it. I thought it was
I just
fine.
thought it was funny, just how, he's supposed to show he's a great detective, but he can't find his fucking keys.
There were some recognizable CW faces, which I don't know if you guys caught any of them.
You're better at that than me.
The guy who plays Brayan, the hippie cop,
Mm-hmm.
he is played by Gray Damon,
Mm-hmm.
who I know from 9 Lives of Chloe King.
Okay.
But he was also on The Secret Circle after that,
Mm-hmm.
with the blonde girl from Under the Dome.
Mm-hmm. Isn't Charmaine from the originals?
She is.
And,
Charmaine is played by Claire Holt. She's from Vampire Diaries in the originals. Yeah. And I was like, no, because, well, obviously she wasn't going to have an accent, but I was like, is she going to have an accent? Is she going to have an accent? Because I think she's originally Australian, but plays British on the originals.
Yep.
And yeah.
All right.
So yeah, some recognizable faces. I'm happy that they're on NBC doing some stuff.
Good for them.
Not
Changing
necessarily too happy with the show itself, but I don't know.
Fair enough. Let's go to ratings on this, Chris. What'd you have this at?
I gave this a 2.5.
2.5.
Which I think was fair, but at the same time, I think there is a possibility that this is based off of solely the first episode, and I think there's a possibility. I see a possibility for it to get better from the first 15 minutes I saw of the second episode.
Brian?
I gave this a 2.5, but putting in the second half of this, it bumped it up to a 3.5.
I had this at a 1.75.
Which we can't count.
Which we can't count, but I just want to let you know that it did get better.
Fair enough.
Enough to me to say that I could watch this, but depending on, what's going on.
1.75 for me. There wasn't one even scene where one actor impressed me in terms of performance. And you would expect at least a above average performance from a person playing Charlie Manson, because it's such a unique role that should be not, I don't want to say easy to play, but should provide evocative, fascinating, stimulating performances. But really, it's nothing here. It's just,
I feel like he's a stupid bitch, and I'm just like, why is Emma like? Come on, Emma, really? I get it. We didn't have this. There wasn't the same kind of technology.
He talks
you had
about
back
eating
then.
a snake and showing Emma how to eat a snake.
Well, not an actual snake. It's the snake of lights, like the city.
Yeah.
Eat that city.
It was like, I'm glad they cut away when they did, because judging by the way this episode ended, I wasn't going to really enjoy the rest of that scene.
I feel like Emma should have caught on when he knows all of this stuff about her father, and he has a freaking harem, and
but for storytelling purposes, she can't.
I understand that, but I'm like, come on, Emma, I expect more of you.
There you go. I've known you for 40 minutes. You should be doing better.
She seems like a nice, smart girl. Like, come on.
Does she seem smart, though? Because she got taken in by Charlie Manson.
I'm sorry. Yeah, your boyfriend, was getting a blowjob from someone else. Just go home.
Give a guy a blowjob to show him.
You don't have to move in with some rando because...
Hey, this isn't Sense8.
That's true.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius.
Speaking of expecting more, though, got a little bit more here. That sound was a piece of paper, by the way, folks. There's a new game. Actually, it's an old game, but there's a whole new round of it with a whole bunch of new questions. So let's go to it now, because it's game time.
What game are we playing?
We are playing Chain of Fools. Now, you might not remember this game. It's a fun game, though, so get ready for it. The way it works is I will ask one of you two a trivia question involving one of the shows that we watched today, in some way, shape, or form. The answer to that question will then lead to the next question that will ask the other person, back and forth until the game is over. 4 rounds, plus I do have a tiebreaker in case we need it. We're going to start with Brayan this week. On Chain
Brayan,
of
get
Fools.
off your phone.
Get off your phone, Brayan.
Stop
You don't want
cheating.
to cheat.
Turn your screen off.
Miserable cheat.
See you cheating over
All
there.
right, let's go to Chain of Fools. Brayan,
Turn it off.
your
I don't
first
care.
question involves David Duchovny, as I teased. One of the shows we watched this week was, as we just talked about, Aquarius, starring David Duchovny. He's, of course, best known, however, as the very interesting Detective Mulder on the legendary show The X-Files. Would you happen to remember his first name?
Fox.
Fox Mulder is correct. That's 1 point for Brayan. Very good, Brayan. Chris, on to you. His partner on the series was named Scully and played by, of course, Gillian Anderson. Very good. The one that David Duchovny eats, as we found out. What was her first name?
I don't know her first name. I never saw The X-Files.
Care to take a guess? Before I have to buzz you. I have that ability now, because I just granted it to myself. Sorry,
I
Chris.
don't know. What was it?
I'll have to cut out the buzz.
I'm sure I'll recognize it as soon as you say it.
It was Dana. Dana Scully.
No.
It's all right. Don't worry about it. You can still get back in the game. We go to Brayan now for his second question. Brayan, Gillian Anderson returned to television in 2013 with this police drama on BBC in the UK and Netflix in the US. Name this police drama.
Oh, shit. I don't remember.
I can put together a puzzling question like no one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Nothing? Care to take a guess?
No.
Okay. It's a 0 for Brayan. Chris, did you happen to know what it was?
Yes.
What is it?
And
you can't steal, but what is it?
I know. And for whatever reason.
You've forgotten it.
Yeah.
It's The Fall.
I love that show so
It's
much.
The Fall with Gillian Anderson.
I fucking
on
love
Netflix.
The Fall.
On The Fall, this is your question, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
The Fall also stars Jamie Dornan.
Yes.
As a serial killer, Paul Spector.
Uh-huh.
He recently became the object of many women's affections when he starred as the titular character in this 2015 film.
50 Shades of Grey.
Is correct. He plays Christian Grey, is it?
Yes.
Very good. We go to Brian's third question here on the Chain of Fools, and going quickly here. You like that fast-paced action that you only get from antenna heads. Brayan.
Yes.
50 Shades of Grey also featured breakout star Dakota Johnson as Anastasia Steele. By the way, I didn't have to look that up, and I kind of hated myself for knowing it afterwards. Many of us know that Dakota Johnson's mother is, of course, famous actress Melanie Griffith. Do you happen to know who her famous crime drama actor father is?
No.
You take care to take a guess before I buzz you?
Antonio Banderas.
Buzz, but actually it's a good guess. Married to Melanie Griffith for a while. No.
I know who he played.
It's good.
Wait, if you give me a second, I can think of it.
It's Don Johnson.
Yeah.
Don Johnson.
Nash Bridges is what I was going to say.
Well, you'll do fine on your next question then. Chris, Johnson came to prominence in the 1980s on the NBC drama Miami Vice.
Uh-huh.
He later starred in a CBS crime drama for 6 seasons in the 1990s. That show was called
Nash Bridges.
That is correct.
I love Nash Bridges.
Very good. Nash Bridges. I can never remember watching it.
Oh, I loved it.
Cheech Marin was on it
every week. I remember the girl who played his daughter. I can see her face right now. I can't remember her name, but...
By the way, this Nash Bridges question almost led to us going on a Baywatch tangent because Yasmin Bleeth was on Nash Bridges for a while and I was going to go that way, but I went in a different way.
Okay.
Brayan, Nash Bridges premiered in 1996, but it wasn't the only successful TV series to premiere on CBS that year. In fact, this Emmy Award-winning sitcom starring a comedian premiered that September. Name that sitcom.
Everybody Loves Raymond?
That is correct. Brayan ties it up at 2. Everybody Loves Raymond, 96 to 2005, I believe. So 9-year run, very good for them. Chris, your fourth question?
I don't know.
Let's see here. That's question number... That was Brian's number
My
7. This is
third?
your fourth question. Let's do the last question. We're currently tied, so if you get this one...
You win.
You win. If not, we force the tie. It's tied 2-2, by the way, folks. Christina. Raymond starred, among others, Doris Roberts as the grandmother Marie, as many of us know. This wasn't, however, the first time Doris Roberts played a grandmother on television, as earlier on, she had played a grandmother on this 1980s and 90s family sitcom. For the win, Chris.
I know I must know it. I'm just like thinking of
Give you 3 seconds before I buzz you.
Full House.
The answer is Full House. Very good. She was actually Danny's mom.
Okay.
Granny Tanny as Michelle. Not Michelle. What was the Olsen twins' character's name?
Michelle.
Stephanie and DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. The girl who played Stephanie actually recently said that she will be on Fuller House in some capacity.
A lot of people have already.
Look forward to that. Also, she's quite the chesty gal now, so there's that.
I think she always was.
She's pretty good though. Speaking of pretty good,
age.
Speaking of pretty good, Chris had a pretty good round of Chain of Fools.
Whoop.
She won the round 3-2. Congratulations, Chris. Would you like to hear my tiebreaker?
Sure.
Okay.
City guys.
I'm really upset that I didn't remember The Fall. I was like, I fucking love this show. Why can't I remember what it's called?
Could have had a perfect round.
I watched both seasons, and they're both on Netflix.
All right, the
and you
ninth
should
question,
watch
which
them.
we don't have to go to, is Full House star John Stamos, among others, is Uncle Jesse Katsopoulos. Now, we saw earlier this year John Stamos guest star on ABC's shockingly renewed series Gallivant. What was his character's name?
Yeah, I wouldn't have remembered.
See?
You wouldn't need a new tiebreaker.
Guy
you would have been wrong.
something?
It was John Hamm.
Oh, right.
Yes.
That was stupid.
Very bad. Very bad.
Yay!
Much like the show, but congratulations, Chris.
Thank you.
Well done.
Well done.
You have proven once again your superiority among all others.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. Speaking of superior things, B911B is one of the superior photo blogs. I had to laugh there because I didn't believe myself.
Yeah, I couldn't
on the internet. Brian, tell us all about what's happening over there.
Just the same old crap.
Same old crap. So if you want to see the same old crap, where can they go, Brian?
It's essentially just New York. I'm trying to get more night shots on.
Don't answer the question. Just deflect.
B911B.com if you want to just see it. B911B photo on Instagram.
B911B22 on Twitter for Brian.
Yeah.
And you can see all his night shots that are coming up.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Speaking of superior things, look at my legs. Aren't they great?
Pretty
good.
That's a word for them.
That is a word. Terrible is another one. ChrisConkers.com.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff happening over there. Some of it might be superior. Some of it not. But
None of it is inferior because
That's
it's
true.
conquering.
And there's really only one way to find out, isn't there, Chris?
Sure. Just go to the website.
Go to the website is the way to do it.
You know.
What is that website and how can they go to it?
It's ChrisConkers.com.
Type it into your URL bar.
No H.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would type it into your URL
Then
bar.
read, subscribe, like.
You can do those things, yeah.
All those things. And Instagram and Twitter as well. Corral for both of them. Very good. Now there's one last question, Chris.
Yeah.
Where can people tell us how fat they think David Duchovny has gotten? He's actually in pretty good shape.
First of all, I don't
He's
think
in
they
good shape.
should do
He's
that.
no Val Kilmer.
That's true.
That's fat shaming, so let's not.
No, it's not.
support
It's not
that.
a bad thing. It's just they have gotten fat. It's a fact.
But that's fat shaming.
It's not shaming. It's not you are bad because you've gotten fat. It's
Yeah,
just you have
got
gotten fat. It's not shaming.
But why is that?
It's a fact.
Why does that need to be noted?
Because
why,
it's a
appearance is
change in his
drastically
appearance.
different.
Why does the change in his appearance matter?
He's an actor.
Because it's interesting because
So?
he's a public figure.
I don't know. I don't think it's interesting. But if you think it's interesting, you can let us know on Antenna
Or if you'd like to
Heads.
tell us if I accidentally fat shamed David Duchovny, who's actually in pretty good shape.
I kind of think you did.
I don't think he did.
It was literally. It's literally the picture because his head is tilted down.
Right.
It's the angle.
They've already seen it. Where can they do all that?
They can do that on Twitter at @antenna_heads. They can listen to all of our episodes on our website, browcast.com. Almost at Antenna Heads. That's on our website. It's browcast.com.
Don't go there unless you want to see an Irish band.
I
Or
think
an
they're English.
Band. Yeah.
You can also listen to us on SoundCloud, TuneIn. No, is that right?
Yeah.
No, I was like,
Stitcher.
I was so caught up on how I said SoundCloud so that it didn't sound like clown.
Yeah.
That TuneIn sounded wrong.
We should register SoundCloud.com.
So you can listen.
Think of all the misdirected hits.
That's right.
SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, iTunes, and now on YouTube. Well, I say now, but it's been for a while.
Yeah, like 20 episodes.
We have a channel on YouTube, and you can subscribe to us and give us thumbs up on our videos, and you can rate us in all the other places.
And you should.
Because it's nice.
It is very nice. And now with that done, there's just but one thing left to do. Take it away, Brian.
So for Cristina and Alex, this is episode 94 of Antenna Heads.